Finish the fight, they said. That's right. Okay. Well, I thought that the trip mine would do more damage than it did. It'll be easy, they said. Well, okay. All right then. I guess I don't know what happened, but I fell. I guess we'll do that again. Oh, and finish the fight we did, until 3 other games came out. Not counting prequels and spin-offs, and movies and TV shows and novels and toys, and even an anime that's not very good. Yeah, Halo 3 was a great culturally significant game, with an enjoyable single-player campaign, custom games out the wazoo, engaging and fully feature multiplayer. But was it? Was it really? Yes. Yes, it was. Halo 3 was released when I was in high school, a time without things like responsibility and debt and global viruses.
One single flood spore can destroy a species. Were it not for the Arbiter's Council, I would have glassed your entire planet.
A time where a great weekend meant hauling my Xbox 360 and a 23-inch heavy-ass box TV to a friend's house to play Slayer, while being fueled by neon toxic waste with Master Chief slapped on the can. That was my personal experience. My memories and story about Halo 3 is just one of literally millions, and as silly as it might seem, the experience left a mark for many people. And I want to preface the rest of this video by saying that this isn't a review or a critical look by any means. I just want to talk about a game that I think is a capstone experience in this industry. So without further ado, let's get into it.
Lord Hood, we made it.
Music to my ears, Commander. What about the Ark?
Fully uncovered, sir.
Then we don't have much time. Marines? The Prophet of Truth doesn't know it yet, but he's about to get kicked right off his throne. You will take our city back and drive our enemy into the graves they've been so happily digging. One final effort is all that remains.
First of all, spoilers, this game is from 2007 and I will be talking about huge story points, so if you don't want to know what happens throughout most of the game, then don't watch this video.
You must be silenced.
10 out of 10, Arbiter, that was really cool. Good job. Do you want to get coffee? Do like it though, thank you. Master Chief, you mind telling me what you're doing with that YouTube video? Sir, liking and subscribing. It's hard to talk about Halo 3 without talking about the hype leading up to it. I mean, that marketing team gets a gold star, let me tell ya. Of course, Microsoft blew a big Halo load all over E3's audience in 2006, and that trailer was cool. It had Master Chief and a satanic voice, 10 out of 10. But nothing holds a candle to the Believe ad campaign. I can say with 100% certainty that I've never felt empathy so hard for a fictional old man before. Master Chief almost made one of them cry. The marketing for Halo 3 was epic, and honestly pretty heavy. It's like Bungie and Microsoft knew they had something big on their hands, and why wouldn't they? I mean, Halo 2 was still popping off on Xbox Live at the time. They treated the supposed final game in the series with what seemed to be a huge amount of respect and deference. And while that respect for the franchise would eventually fall off of a cliff into a flaming dumpster, in 2007, Halo was King Turd on Shit Mountain as far as Microsoft was concerned. Halo was pretty much the console golden boy at the time, despite the issues present with Halo 2. The marketing machine was in full swing, Halo fans had a full chub, and then the day finally came. Or maybe I should say night, because Halo 3's midnight release in New York City was absolutely crazy. UNSC Marines driving Hummers and ATVs rolled up the street, blocks of New York City were overrun by screaming dude bros. Even Ludacris showed up to take a picture with Master Chief. It was nuts, and it was all for this plastic disc. A disc containing a story about a mean green machine and his girlfriend. Master Chief, who had been murdering aliens on a Covenant dreadnought off-screen between Halo 2 and 3, begins the game by falling from orbit and crashing into the jungle. Luckily, Sergeant Johnson, is dispatched to extract him. After John Halo wakes up from a little blunt force trauma-induced nap, did you have to blow smoke in my face? What the fuck? He learns that the Arbiter, and by extension most of the elites, are good boys now. The team proceeds through the dense jungle, only stopping to disturb a family of spooky humanoid monkeys. Hey, look, it's the monkeys! Oh. Until having to save Sergeant Johnson from the brutes. And we definitely have to talk about the brutes, right?
Ah! Oh, he stuck me right in my thighs! I shouldn't have eaten so many Krabby Patties!
Due to the fact that elites are exclusively allies in Halo 3, brutes stepped up to fill their role in combat. In Halo 2, where brutes were first introduced, they were sort of these tanky bullet sponges that often resorted to personal violence. Halo 3 requires them to fill the role of frontline soldiers. They've been given armor instead of energy shields that the elites employed. They're way more apt to seek cover, use equipment, and range weapons than they ever would have in Halo 2. And while this makes them less annoying to fight in Halo 3, they also lose a big chunk of their identity. Now they sort of just feel like fatter elites. Sure, they'll still charge you, and the hammer-wielding chieftains are terrifying. But, yeah, he got me.
Aha, I'm going to teabag you.
But by and large, their aggressiveness has been scaled way back. But I suppose that's a sacrifice that needed to be made if they were going to step into the shoes of the main adversary of Halo 3. While the events of Halo 2 were taking place, the Covenant were digging a giant hole on Earth, and the next 3 levels detail the Master Chief and Arbiter trying to stop them. The second level, Crow's Nest, is a good display of Halo 3's gameplay sandbox.
Master Chief always kills in the coolest way possible. No matter the cost, even if all the ODSTs die.
Ever since Halo 1, there were 3 pillars of Halo's biblical gameplay. Guns, they shoot. Grenades, they pop. Melee, it smack. Halo 2 introduced dual-wielding weapons, and Halo 3 introduces equipment. Things like the portable shield, health regenerator, shield drain, epilepsy bomb are new and add interesting experiences to the levels. Stop with the power drains! What the fuck is this?
Here's another power drain. I brought 55 of them. Just in case Master Chief showed up, I said, I'll bring 87 power drains.
Dual wielding also returned to the sandbox, which is something that can't be said for all Halo games. There's also portable turrets that Master Chief can manhandle like the big burly handsome man that he is. Of course, that's just the icing on the purple blood splattered cake. None of it counts for anything if the weapons, the main way of interacting with Halo 3's world, don't feel good to use. Luckily, the weapon selection in Halo 3 is simultaneously fine-tuned and welcoming to experimentation. I mean, the assault rifle is back from Halo 1, sort of. It feels like Halo 1 AR's little brother. I mean, listen to it. But it's nothing compared to what Bungie did to the Magnum. This thing, I don't know what it is, but it's not a Magnum. It's like they took the Halo 1 pistol's corpse and just shoved a worse gun inside of it. It truly is a turducken of disappointment. Find them! Also, the pistol fucking sucks in this game. Okay, he died. But that was a bad example. Other than that, though, the weapons are super fun. The battle rifle handles a little differently than it used to, but it's still a good option in almost every situation. The sniper rifle is perfect and no one should ever touch it. The Needler is still niche, but fun. And then things like the gravity hammer and the rocket launcher speak for themselves. If Halo 3's pillar philosophy for a gameplay sandbox, why yes, that is a very pretentious sentence, If that sandbox is a pizza, then the extra things in Halo 3 are like those breadsticks that are really good. And I feel confident in saying that at this point, Halo 3's version of the equipment system is still the best iteration that we've seen. Maybe Halo Infinite's will change that. I mean, the grappling hook is really cool. Crow's Nest ends up being an interesting mission all in all. The Covenant attacks the base, you fight some brutes with jetpacks that sometimes get stuck on geometry, causing the level not to advance. Miranda is a really bad commander and says a really dramatic line that makes no sense in context.
Point. Where should they go?
Here comes the worst line in cinema history.
To war.
Like it's out of Lord of the Rings. These bats are bred for war. Yeah, sometimes the dialogue is really silly, but in the end it just makes it all the more endearing. Also, Lord Hood looks like a pug or a Shar-Pei. Man, I don't know what happened to him, but he gives dog-faced a whole new meaning. Moving on to the next mission, Chief takes a little tumble down an elevator shaft and has to mount up with the surviving Marines and a Warthog and break through the Covenant forces on the highway to the city of Voy. Savo Highway introduces another staple of the franchise into Halo 3, drivable vehicles. And man, the vehicles, especially the Warthog and the new Brute Chopper, feel super good to drive, which is important because you do not want to let the AI drive. While it might seem like a fun idea to use the turrets, you will die. The Marines just aren't good enough, poor little guys. In the end, driving the Warthog around feels just as rewarding as manning the gun. And against infantry, even the Warthog and the Ghost feel like a power weapon. And then later you get to use a Scorpion tank or steal the Wraith and you're pretty much unstoppable. Load up! You can blow up the Phantom here, I know you can. Woo, there we go. Tank does beat everything, that is 100% right. This was something that made Halo unique in the industry at the time. Mid to late 2000 shooters were very linear. Halo always felt so huge in scope because of its focus on mixed infantry and vehicle combat. Even if the levels are pretty much just outside hallways, it gives you the illusion of a huge conflict raging across miles of battlefield. And that's how Savo Highway feels, like you're punching through a Covenant battalion, desperately trying to make your way to the rally point in Voy. The biggest thing you get is a Warthog, and as you rescue stranded squads of Marines and eventually even come up against some annoyingly placed Wraiths. This leads us into level 4, the Storm, which would be almost entirely forgettable, except for the part where you drive a mongoose around with a rocket launcher wielding Marine strapped to the back, and you're trying to destroy a giant Scarab tank. Which, by the way, is an actual giant walking vehicle in this game with its own AI, which was incredibly cool considering its last appearance in Halo 2 was nothing more than a piece of scenery on rails. You can get stepped on and die. It is a possibility. It's kind of fun. But we'll try not for that to happen. Okay, we'll also try to get... Oh god, oh no. Alright then, see, that's also a possibility. There's also a few times where you have to fight big swarms of drones, which was annoying in Halo 2 and is even more annoying in 3 because most weapons are no longer hit scan, the bullets have travel time. Anyway, drones are ass and they're annoying, they're ass-knowing. The level ends with a really great cutscene and some very cool lines from Lord Hood. Unfortunately, the Covenant successfully activate the artifact that turns out to be a teleporter that leads to the Ark. To make matters even worse, a flood-infested Covenant ship just appears out of slip space and crashes into Voy. Perfect accuracy. Let's not forget that when Halo 2 ended, the Flood was infesting High Charity, the Covenant capital ship, so they're really dealing with a lot right now. This brings us to Floodgate, a short but moody level that introduces everyone's favorite space zombies into the enemy mix. I must say, after 4 levels of blasting Covenant, this was a good time to introduce the Flood as enemies. They're way less annoying to fight than in Halo 2 and especially Halo 1. No rocket launcher Flood here. Plus, in Halo 3 you can destroy their bodies with melee much more easily, not requiring an energy sword to do so. You don't really need to worry about the dead Flood coming back to life anymore, which is good because they do throw a lot of Flood at you. We also get a few new types of Flood, which definitely helps out the enemy variety in the levels focused on fighting them. There's the big tank ones that take a lot of punishment, the spindly ones that shoot gross spines at you, and all the other forms that we've seen over the years. Luckily, combat forms tend to not have weapons as frequently in Halo 3. Oh, this one has a sword. Okay, that was a little scary. Also, this level is really cool because it marks the first appearance of allied elites in Halo 3, and you get the Arbiter to follow you the whole time. Arbiter is a super cool and friendly dude.
You need it more than I do, weakling. Stop staring at me.
The hell's wrong with you?
Although he does seem to get stuck on walls and stuff. I guess Tartarus bonked him on the head or something, I don't know. Other than that, a lot of Floodgate is honestly just backtracking through the end of the storm while fighting Flood, but personally I think the change in atmosphere with the darkened sky and the spreading infection makes up for the reused assets. After fighting our way through waves of Flood and aboard the crashed Covenant ship, we finally are reunited with Cortana. Sort of. It's more like a voicemail that Cortana left, saying, "Oh no, Truth is gonna fire the Halo rings, you better follow his old wrinkly ass through that portal." Then Lord Hood and Halfjaw yell at each other a bit. All in all, it's a pretty cool cutscene. I always like seeing the human and elite characters interact with each other. This leads us into the 6th level, the Ark. I love using the intro cutscene to this level as an example of how great Halo's overall vibe is. The music that plays as your Pelican descends towards Installation 00, dwarfed by a Covenant ship the size of a small city. The scale of the Ark itself being an enormous artifact created to forge what we previously thought of as a massive scale weapon. And the fact that it's located in deep space outside our own galaxy, where it sat for hundreds of thousands of years. It's all just so fucking cool. Whoop! Oh, he smashed me, and then I somehow exploded, and then woo! Chief, whee! We went on a little ride there. I think that's what makes the Halo series so monumentally influential and important to me. The way the scale is handled throughout the original trilogy is just so impressive. In fact, there's a great example of this at the end of the Ark. After progressing through a desert with the use of warthogs, stolen Covenant vehicles, and the lives of a few ODSTs, we get to a wide open clearing. The Forward Unto Dawn swoops down from the sky, completely dominating your view of the horizon. Vehicles and chunks of wreckage are flung around and can even splatter the player if you aren't careful. Then you get blessed with 3 Scorpion tanks, and as the saying goes, tank beats everything. Fuck you, Shade Turret. Eat a dick. Oh, you also get to fight another Scarab at the end, and even though it's the second time, it's still cool. I think the Ark is what marks the player's entry into the second half of the game. The first few levels revolve around the Master Chief and the UNSC trying to stop Truth from digging up the artifact. We failed, oopsie, but now the second half has us finding and stopping Truth from starting up the Great Journey. For what it's worth, the storyline of Halo 3 isn't especially crazy, but the presentation as a whole gives everything a grandiose feeling. The music, the pacing and composition of cutscenes, hell, even the cheesy-ass dialogue comes off as something that could be from a play. Now we get to what I think is the best Halo campaign level maybe ever. It's probably tied with Silent Cartographer from Combat Evolved on my personal list. The aptly named level, The Covenant, is an action-packed jaunt through a beautiful Halo environment, complete with multiple biomes, warthog runs, tank action, aerial combat, and then fighting 2 Scarabs? You would think the awesomeness would wear off the 3rd time that they do it, but no, it's still awesome. Then to top it all off, Chief and Arbiter scale a big tower and even get allied Flood units. It's just so cool and awesome to see as a fan. Arbiter gets to be a big damn hero, and then the Gravemind is like, cool, thanks for doing that, now die please. And once again the Flood are our enemies. The final arc of the game's single player really comes to a crescendo as Chief retrieves the real Cortana from a heavily infected High Charity.
I am a monument to all your sins.
Oh, that was like a deep fried meme right there. Is this her? I think it's her. Is this where I left her? Then Arby and the Chief race to stop Guilty Spark from activating the entire Halo array. Oh, hey, the classic rocket flood. He blew me right up. He shot me right in the face with a rocket launcher. Johnson is well done, and then we escape from an exploding ring by making a big epic jump on a warthog. Halo 3's final moments sure were crazy and climactic. The campaign was grandiose, epic, and carried itself with a tone of importance. So the obvious thing to do after this very emotional climax would be to fire up multiplayer and immediately get teabagged by a pink alien, right? I'm not going to mince words for very long on multiplayer. People have created long-ass videos discussing it to death, I'm sure. What I want to say about it is it just feels so unique. Halo 3 is what I consider the gold standard of the franchise's multiplayer experiences. I mean, we had a full multiplayer suite with ranked play, custom games, many different playlists, freely unlockable armor, Forge, a ton of maps. It's just so good. This game and Call of Duty 4 were basically what got me through the last few years of high school. And thanks to MCC, Halo 3 is still available to play online, at least for now. Now, of course, the online play wasn't perfect. Even back in 2007, people complained about the post-release maps costing extra money.
Whatever, you're just too poor to afford the new maps.
It's not a competition about who has the most money, you fucking idiot. It's about a personal sense of worth. But I guess that's a concept that's too complex for your hopeless, juvenile, idiotic brain to understand.
You're poor. You can't afford stuff.
Sigh.
If only we knew the horrors of 2021. Hey, look at that. I got 25 kills. I got a point in the battle pass. Woo, that's what we play games for, right? Ah, you dumb idiot. Oh, my fucking gold armor. I paid so much for that. It was in the battle pass. But that doesn't dampen my memories of splattering people on Valhalla or getting fusion coil kills on Last Resort. My glasses are the rosiest of tints when it comes to Halo 3's online play. And sure, there were some duds like Snowbound.
Fucking Snowbound. Damn it, Vito. Vito, fuck.
But hey, I can't even name a single map that came out in Halo 4. Overall, Halo 3's multiplayer was not only a complete package on launch day, it was better than everything else at the time, full stop. And that's basically my thoughts on Halo 3. This game, not only was it an important piece of media in my own life, it really made an impact on a lot of people. Got me interested in sci-fi and space opera style stories, which is an interest that I still have till this day. Of course, the franchise has waned in popularity and quality ever since the torch was passed from Bungie to 343. Halo Infinite has just fully released at the time of this video, and I hope it has a bright future ahead of it. The parasite is coming. Why is the parasite coming here? That asshole. Get him out of here. No one likes him. He knows no one likes him. The Grave Mind is not fun at parties, that's for sure. Always talking about death and oh! Phantom inbound.
Killed my man.
We better not let it abduct us and tickle our bums. That would be bad. Thank you for taking the time to watch today. Now let's continue the fight.